What if the exercise your body needs most after 60 is not walking at all, but something you can do lying flat on your living room floor in under 2 minutes a day? Most people over 60 already know that movement matters. They walk to the mailbox around the block, maybe even a couple of miles a day, and they feel good about it. And they should, because walking truly is one of the best things you can do for your heart, your mood, and your overall health. But here is something that surprises a lot of people. Walking alone does not build the kind of muscle strength your body needs to stay steady, stable, and independent as the years go on. You can walk every single day and still notice your legs feel weaker climbing stairs, your balance feels less certain on uneven ground, your lower back aches after standing too long, and getting up from a low chair takes a little more effort than it used to. That is not a sign that something is wrong with you personally. It is simply what happens when the muscles that support your hips, your spine, and your core are not being challenged enough. Here is the part most people do not think about until it becomes a problem. Starting in your 30s and continuing through the decades that follow, the body naturally loses muscle mass and strength over time, a process researchers call sarcopenia. This loss tends to speed up after age 60, and it does not just affect how you look. It affects how well you balance, how easily you rise from a chair, how confidently you climb a flight of stairs, and how resilient your joints are against everyday wear and tear. Walking is a wonderful cardiovascular habit, but because it is a relatively low resistance activity, it does not place enough demand on the muscles to meaningfully slow this process down. That is exactly why so many active walkers still deal with weak legs, poor balance, and nagging back discomfort. This is where things become really important. Among all the muscles in your body, your glutes deserve special attention as you age. The gluteal muscles are actually the largest muscle group in the human body, and they do far more work than most people realize. They stabilize your pelvis every time you take a step. They support your spine when you bend, twist, or reach. They help you rise from a couch, climb a curb, and catch yourself if you start to stumble. When these muscles are strong, your whole lower body works together more efficiently. When they are weak, other joints, especially your knees and your lower back, are forced to compensate, which is often where pain begins. The good news is that you do not need a gym membership, fancy equipment, or hours of your day to start reversing this. One of the simplest and most effective exercises you can do at home, on a mat, or even a carpeted floor is the glute bridge. It looks unassuming, almost too easy to matter, but physical therapists and exercise physiologists who work with older adults consistently point to it as one of the safest and most useful strength exercises available, precisely because it builds real strength in the hips, glutes, hamstrings, and lower back, without putting stress on your knees, wrists, or shoulders the way many other exercises do. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. Begin by lying on your back on a comfortable, supportive surface. Bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor, roughly hip-width apart, close enough that your fingertips can just brush your heels when your arms are resting by your sides. Keep your arms relaxed at your sides, palms facing down, for stability. From here, press firmly through your heels, gently tighten your abdominal muscles, and squeeze your glutes as you slowly lift your hips off the floor. You are aiming to raise your hips until your body forms a fairly straight line from your shoulders down through your hips to your knees. You do not need to lift explosively or strain to get there. Slow, controlled movement is what makes this exercise both safe and effective. At the top of the movement, pause for a second or two, keeping your glutes squeezed the entire time. Then lower your hips back down to the floor with the same slow control you used to lift them. That full up and down motion counts as one repetition. If lifting all the way up feels like too much at first, there is no shame in starting smaller. A mini bridge, where you lift your hips only partway, is a perfectly reasonable place to begin, and it still activates the same muscle groups. As your strength improves, you can gradually work toward the full range of motion, and eventually toward holding the top position a little longer or adding more repetitions. The surprising part is just how much research supports this simple movement. Studies on hip and core strengthening in older adults have repeatedly linked stronger glute and abdominal muscles to better postural control, meaning your body is better able to catch and correct itself when you shift weight unexpectedly or step onto uneven ground. That improved postural control is directly tied to a lower risk of falling, which matters enormously since falls are one of the leading causes of injury among people over 60. Strengthening these same muscles has also been associated with reduced lower back discomfort, since a stronger posterior chain, meaning your glutes, hamstrings, and the muscles running along your spine, takes pressure off the lower back during everyday movements like bending, lifting, and standing up from a seated position. Many people overlook this simple detail, but strength training of any kind, including bodyweight exercises like the glute bridge, also plays a role in how your body manages blood sugar. Skeletal muscle is one of the primary places your body stores and uses glucose, so muscles that are stronger and more metabolically active tend to help regulate blood sugar more effectively. This does not mean a glute bridge is a substitute for medical treatment or a balanced diet. But it does mean that building and maintaining muscle is not just about looking strong or moving comfortably. It is connected to some of the same systems that affect your long-term metabolic health. Once you feel comfortable with the basic glute bridge, there are a few gentle variations worth knowing about, especially if you want to keep challenging your body as it gets stronger. A single leg bridge where you extend one leg straight out while keeping the other foot planted and lifting your hips adds extra challenge to your balance and to one side of your body at a time. Though this variation should only be attempted once the standard bridge feels easy and stable. Looping a soft resistance band around your thighs, just above your knees, and gently pressing your knees outward as you lift activates the sides of your glutes as well, which are especially important for stabilizing your hips when you walk or stand on one leg. Floor exercises are difficult for you because of knee or hip discomfort. A seated glute squeeze, simply tightening your glute muscles while sitting in a sturdy chair and holding for a few seconds before releasing, can still offer meaningful benefit and can be practiced almost anywhere, including while watching television. Another excellent complementary movement is standing hip abduction, performed while holding onto a sturdy chair, countertop, or wall for balance. From a standing position, you slowly lift one leg out to the side, keeping your body upright and your core gently engaged, then lower it back down with control. This movement specifically targets the muscles on the outer hip, which are crucial for keeping your pelvis level and stable when you walk, especially on uneven surfaces like sidewalks or grass. Practicing this alongside your glute bridge routine gives your hips strength from multiple angles, which translates into more reliable balance in daily life. The sit-to-stand movement is another practical exercise worth mentioning, not because it is new to you, since you likely do it dozens of times a day without thinking about it, but because practicing it deliberately, with attention to form, turns an everyday movement into a strength-building opportunity. Sitting in a sturdy chair, lean slightly forward, press through your heels, and stand up using your leg and glute muscles rather than pushing off with your hands. Then, lower yourself back down slowly and with control rather than simply dropping into the seat. Doing this a handful of times, once or twice a day, reinforces exactly the muscles you are also strengthening with the glute bridge. And that's what changes everything when it comes to healthy aging. It is not one single exercise that transforms how you move through the world. It is the combination of consistent daily movement, like walking, with targeted strength work that specifically addresses the muscles most responsible for balance, stability, and independence. Walking keeps your heart strong and your mood lifted. Strength exercises like the glute bridge, standing hip abduction, and mindful sit-to-stands keep your muscles capable of supporting you through the physical demands of daily life. From carrying groceries, to playing with grandchildren, to simply getting up from bed with confidence. When starting any new strength routine, a little caution goes a long way. Begin with a modest number of repetitions, perhaps 5 to 8 for the glute bridge, and see how your body responds over the following day. Mild muscle tiredness, similar to what you might feel after a good walk, is completely normal and is actually a sign that the muscle is adapting and getting stronger. Sharp pain, on the other hand, is not something to push through. If you feel sharp or unusual pain in your back, hip, or knee, stop the exercise and consider speaking with your doctor or a physical therapist before continuing, particularly if you have an existing back condition, hip replacement, or other joint issue. As your comfort and strength grow, you can gradually work up toward 10 to 15 repetitions, and practicing most days of the week, or at minimum 3 to 4 times weekly, tends to produce the most consistent results over time. It is worth remembering that consistency matters far more than intensity when you are building strength later in life. A slow, steady increase in repetitions over weeks and months will get you further and keep you safer than trying to push hard in a single session. Muscle adapts gradually, and so does confidence. Many people who begin this kind of gentle strength routine report feeling steadier on their feet within a matter of weeks, not because their muscles transformed overnight, but because consistent practice reinforces both physical strength and the brain's ability to coordinate balance and movement together. It also helps to think about strength training as an investment in your future independence rather than a chore to check off a list. Every time you strengthen your glutes, your core, and your hips, you are making it easier to garden without back pain, to travel without worrying about uneven cobblestones, to play with grandchildren on the floor and get back up without help, and to simply move through your day with more confidence and less fear of falling. These are not small things. They are the foundation of what allows people to stay active, social, and independent well into their 80s and 90s. If you take one thing away from everything we've covered, let it be this: your age does not determine how strong your body can become. Muscle responds to the right kind of movement at any stage of life, and the body's ability to adapt and grow stronger does not disappear simply because a certain number of birthdays have passed. What matters most is giving your muscles the right kind of challenge, consistently, and with patience. The glute bridge is a wonderful place to start precisely because it is so accessible. No equipment, no gym membership, no complicated instructions, just a few minutes on a mat, a few times a week. Walking will always have a place in a healthy routine, and there is no reason to give it up. But pairing it with simple strength work like the glute bridge, standing hip abduction, and mindful sit to stands gives your body something walking alone cannot provide: real, targeted strength in the muscles that keep you upright, balanced, and capable. Small, steady efforts, repeated consistently over weeks and months, are what create lasting change in how your body feels and moves. Start today, be patient with the process, and give your body the consistency it needs to reward you with strength, stability, and independence for many years to come. Before we close, let's clear up a few common misconceptions that often keep people from starting a strength routine in the first place. Some worry that lifting their hips off the floor could hurt their back, when in reality, the glute bridge is frequently recommended by physical therapists specifically because it is gentler on the spine than exercises like traditional sit-ups or crunches, which repeatedly flex the spine forward. The bridge, by contrast, keeps your spine in a relatively neutral position, while your glutes and hamstrings do most of the work, which is part of why it is considered one of the safer core and lower body exercises for people managing existing back discomfort. Others assume that because the movement looks so simple, it must not be doing very much. But the effectiveness of an exercise has little to do with how complicated it appears, and everything to do with whether it consistently challenges the right muscles through a safe range of motion, which the glute bridge does very well. Another misconception worth addressing is the idea that strength training is only for younger people, or those who are already fit. In truth, some of the most meaningful strength gains happen in people who are just beginning a routine later in life, precisely because their muscles have more room to adapt and improve. A body that has not been challenged with resistance in years often responds quickly to even modest, consistent effort. This is encouraging news for anyone who feels like they have missed their window or that it is somehow too late to build strength. It is not too late, and starting now, even with just a few repetitions a day, puts you on a meaningfully different trajectory than not starting at all. It also helps to set realistic expectations about the timeline. You are unlikely to notice dramatic changes after just 1 or 2 sessions, and that is completely normal. What tends to happen instead is a gradual accumulation of small improvements, a little more ease standing up from a chair, a little more steadiness walking on grass or gravel, a little less stiffness in the morning. These small shifts often go unnoticed day to day, which is exactly why tracking your repetitions or simply committing to a regular schedule can help you stay consistent even before you feel the results directly. Over the course of several weeks, those small improvements tend to add up into something you and the people around you can genuinely notice. Finally, remember that this exercise does not need to be done in isolation. Pairing your glute bridge routine with your daily walk, a few standing hip abductions, and mindful sit to stands throughout the day creates a well-rounded approach that supports your hips, your spine, your balance, and your overall independence from several different angles at once. None of these movements require special equipment, a significant time commitment, or a gym membership, which makes them realistic to maintain for the long term. And long-term consistency is ultimately what produces lasting benefits. Give your body a few minutes each day, be patient with the process, listen for the difference between normal muscle fatigue and genuine pain, and trust that the effort you put in now is building a stronger, steadier, more capable version of yourself for the years ahead.